All right, good afternoon. It is 2 o'clock. Thank you everybody for being here on this beautiful Friday. Welcome to Leveraging Market Stats to Boost Your Business series. This is actually year 6 that we've been doing it. Thank you everybody who's been coming on every month to watch these stats reports. If you're new, what we're going to do is we're going to go over the latest official statistics for the South Florida real estate market. The Miami Association of Realtors owns the Miami SEF MLS. These are our stats. We like to say we are the source of the source, and you guys are getting it first here. So we're going to go over the stats, but more importantly, we're going to go over the trends analysis, where the market is today and where it's going. And the best part about these are the different Miami leaders that come on board. And we went all the way to the top. We have the Miami Chairman of the Board, 2025 Miami Chairman of the Board, Eddie Blanco. Eddie, how are you doing today?
Wonderful. Excited to be here. Grateful to see everybody. And Chris, thank you again for always putting this together. 60 years, amazing. I watch these every time you put them out, and so I really enjoy them. And I'm always using your stats and your data to put post on social media and put content together. So I appreciate that.
Oh no, thank you so much. And really, yeah, it's an honor to put these together. And for me, I always learn a lot, and I know everybody on here is going to learn a lot in the next hour. Some tips, some tools that could help you make more deals out there. But Eddie, right out the box, I wanted to ask you, we're streaming also live on YouTube. We are live on LinkedIn and Facebook. So what about, the new people that maybe are logging in? Why is it so important to know, the stats of the market and to tell Miami's story?
You know, um, Telling the story of Miami is what really makes the difference of being counted as a valuable resource. Otherwise, you're just selling it. But the telling the story, understanding the dynamics of what Miami has been in the history, what Miami is today, and the awesome future that is Miami. I think it's important. I mean, if you don't know how to tell a story, you can't convey the emotion. It's going beyond the numbers, but you have to understand the numbers. You have to understand because what's happening is our consumers are hear the headlines of the news that are designed to grab their attention, but isn't always the truth. Here, we're able to tell our own story, and the Miami story is an awesome story, and the headlines aren't always the right story. So we got to be making our own story.
Yeah, no, excellent points. I love it. Yes, for sure. All right, so let's move on. Here's our agenda for today. We're going over December 2024 stats, but by the way, we have Q4 2024 stats, and we also have year-end stats, and you'll be able to get all those reports. I put it in the chat. It's sfmarketintel.com. So that's where you get all the reports, but here's our agenda. Here's future leveraging stats webinars. We already have a lot of these scheduled. So if you guys want to register, we are here every single month going over the stats and the trends. Our next one is February 21st. These are some of the questions I always get. Is this being recorded? Yes, and it'll be available to you. And also, if you guys want this PowerPoint, I could send it to you. If you could go ahead and write your email in the chat, wherever you are, if you could put it in the chat, I'll tabulate all the emails and I'll send it this afternoon, this entire PowerPoint, so you could take a look at your leisure and also use for your marketing as well. So this is what I mentioned, sfmarketintel.com. If you could only remember one website, remember this one, because we try to make it easy. We put all of our reports, our videos, our infographics on this website here. It will be, if it's not updated right now, it will be very, very shortly. It'll be updated with the fresh stats. All right, Eddie, so let's go over some of the top indicators. I'm going to go over our three counties, and I'll ask you a question on Miami-Dade. But these are some of the top indicators I saw. Strong month all across the board. Total home sales are up in Miami, plus 3%. Single family home sales, of course, are up year over year. Here's a look at Broward single-family home sales. You'll see a trend here, single-family increase there. Palm Beach County, again, single-family home sales. Condo median price, of course, increasing in Palm Beach. So Eddie, going back to Miami-Dade, obviously the number one question in Miami-Dade is the condo market and the new state regulations that have gone into effect. Structural repairs on reserves went into effect already. So, there's a lot of headlines here, but I know it's not impacting the entire market, 1 million and up, for instance. But what is your take there on the condo state regulations and how it will impact the market today and in the future?
This is when you talk about the story of Miami, right? Here's a perfect example. The media picks segments of the market, highlights those, and tells their story. But if you know the story of the Miami condo market, you understand that this is really only impacting a small segment of the market, which is the older and poorly managed condominiums. Those that were properly managing their reserves, were properly keeping the maintenance up, and those buildings don't have problems. In fact, the million plus condo market is surging, and we know that, and the data shows that. So in the future, what we can know is the other part of the story is that the positive side, even more so, is that these laws, although they're having a temporary impact on the market, they're long term. It's going to be better. We're going to have more resilient, stronger, and safer buildings. And what's most important is now all these buildings who were previously not financeable because they didn't have the proper reserves will now be financeable, which will increase the affordability, will increase opportunity for buyers. So, in the next couple of years, it won't take long either. We're going to see the condo market in those markets where they have had some price adjustment really surge, I think. And
Oh,
I would be remiss if I didn't plug a very important opportunity. If you're a Miami realtor and you haven't heard about the condo summit that we're doing, February 14th, we're going to have legislators there, top experts. We're going to demystify all the concerns, provide really solid information. And we're also going to hear from you, want to know what you're seeing on the streets. There's going to be some opportunity for discussion. So we'll definitely invite you February 14th. If you love condos, you can spend Valentine's Day with me and a lot of the Miami people at the Miami headquarters. So I'd love to see you all there.
yes, that's awesome. Incredible. I love that insight. Long term is going to be more resilient, safer buildings. We're going to be putting together sound bites from that, and I think right off the box, that's a great sound bite for everybody. And later, I'm going to put in the chat the registration for the condo summit. That's a great call there. Excellent. All right, so let's move on to another hot topic. Eddie, this is always a hot topic, mortgage rates. There was a Fed cut in September, and there was a lot of talk, oh, rates will go down. Rates went up, but I did was looking the other day, we did see a little bit of decrease. At least now it's below 7%. But when you're talking to buyers, what are your main talking points about mortgage rates?
Well, again, this is telling the story, right? Like the media is going to say, oh, more interest rates are up, they're up, they're up. Yes, they're up. They're up from a previous low, but they're not up over what the average has always been. And there's been times where rates have been much, much higher, and the real estate market's done just fine. So as a realtor, we need to stay away from the headlines and focus on what the information that Chris is putting out, because it's the other side of the story, and it's the full story. And educating the buyer, explaining that that the Fed rate has not a direct impact to mortgage rates. It's really more impacted by the bond market, which is complicated in terms of how prices change. I mean, you got what do the people at the top of the financial markets think is going to happen? How is inflation playing out? Consumer confidence, investor confidence, all play into the bond market, which affects rates. It's not, the Fed rate that's put out. That's the money factor that the banks pay for lending, but that's not directly correlated to mortgages. Also, talk to your clients about the bigger picture in terms of buying. And one way I like to say it is, you're worried about a 7% interest rate. Okay, well, your rent is 100% interest rate. There's nothing going to principal there. There's another thing is, understanding and exploring some of the financial strategies, right? You could do adjustable rate mortgages. You can do buyouts. You could talk to them about future refinance opportunities if rates did come down. So holding off to buy because interest rates are high relative to where they were and during the COVID, that's a mistake, and that's your job as a realtor to educate them, and that's what we're here to do. We're educating, empowering you to be able to have that information to share with your clients.
Excellent. Great job, Eddie. Yes. Mortgage rate. So that's a very key topic to keep an eye on. Let's move on. Um, next to actually, first I would like to go to our market fundamentals. Actually, you know what? Let's backtrack here. Eddie, I don't know if you saw this, but Realtor.com put together the top housing markets for 2025.
Number two.
Miami ranks number two, and they are forecasting 24% growth coming to the Miami housing market in 2025. And you could see the other markets that they listed there, Colorado Springs, number one. But this is really something that we're seeing that 2025, if mortgage rates drop, it's going to unlock a lot of demand, right?
Yeah, I think that if mortgage rates lots, it'll unlock a lot of demand. But I think even if they don't drop, I think what this year we're going to expect is that mortgage rates, consumers are going to get acclimated to the idea that interest rates aren't going to come down right away, and that this is the new normal. And I think that people are, understanding that if they don't buy today, prices are going to continue to increase. They're going to miss out on future opportunity. The reality of the matter is that a lot of people are migrating here, and those people have more money. And because of that, we can expect those prices to continue to grow.
Yeah, great points. And actually, I wanted to backtrack here. Our chief economist, Gay Corortone, she does a great job. If you're not reading her reports, you should. Economic Insights, and she forecasts 6+ rates for this year. So that's to keep an eye on. So great points there, Eddie. Let's talk about what makes Miami different from a Los Angeles, a Chicago, and New York. These are the things that everybody here should know is our population, our international migration, the companies that, exactly what Eddie was talking about. Let's get into it. The population, South Florida population projected to increase by 14%. So, Eddie, these are the future home buyers and exactly what you're talking about, that we're not just getting international, we're getting domestic.
Oh yeah, domestic in a big way. There was a report that Gay had put out, but also Florida Realtors has put out another article. I did some looking at that, and I figured from what I saw there and calculated was there's 227,000 households that moved to South Florida with an average income of $170,000. They're coming from states like New York, California, Illinois, New Jersey, and Texas. And these are the people bringing in not only more people, but more people with a much higher wage. So when people ask, how can people afford to live here? Well, the people who are moving here are bringing in bigger checkbooks, let's say.
Yeah, no, definitely. And here's the graphic, exactly what you're talking about. Look at the bigger checkbooks coming in to Miami-Dade County, to Broward, Palm Beach, Martin. This has completely changed the game domestically, and we're continuing to see that. Also wanted to touch on some of the companies. These are some of the world's powerhouses. We have, of course, Blackstone and Citadel, Founders Fund, Landtech, and there's so many more that really could be on here. We need to update that because we know Apple's coming to Coral Gables, FIFA, but really incredible what's happening here. Eddie, we talked about that. Wanted to go into this slide here. Exactly what you're talking about, the wealth migration. Eddie, I always feel like this one is, we talk about telling the story, 10 million and up home sales. When you compare it now to pre-pandemic, that really tells the story of how Miami and South Florida has evolved, right?
Right. It's when that money comes here, they invest in jobs, and they invest their capital here, which creates new jobs for people. Which when those people have higher paying jobs, they spend more money. They want higher luxury items. They want cultural enrichment, and when they do that, it invites other people to come and say, wow, Miami's become much more of a culturally diverse place. Wow, there's a lot of opportunity. There's a lot of cool people here. There's a lot of cool things to do here. Let me move my family here. And then they bring more money. And it just, we have been in an upward spiral of that for many years now. And it's important to understand that, we are not we're not just competing domestically. We are an international metropolis. And that's the difference. And I grew up here, so I saw that change happen, in my time.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. You mentioned international. I wanted to go back on my slides here. I didn't show this one here. Miami ranks number one in the U.S. in international migration. This is the U.S. Census Bureau. And I love this slide because if you combine Miami-Dade and Broward, no one is near that these type of numbers. So it's what makes Miami special, our diversity.
Yeah. Well, Chris, I want to also talk about that for a second, because when you talk about Miami being a global metropolis and compare it to the others, when you look at the square footage price for property in Miami, on average, a condo, two, 500, 500, $550,000 compared to London, that's like $1,800 a square foot. Or Tokyo is $1,500 a square foot. Or Singapore, $1,900 a square foot average. So when you compare our pricing to those big international markets and what we offer, our price per square foot is a bargain. And so we need to really understand that we're just at the beginning of incredible growth in Miami,
Yeah, no, I love it. Yeah, you get more bang for your buck here in
for
Miami.
sure.
Yes. All right. Okay, so let's have a little fun. Let's test you guys. Everybody, thank you for being here on the Zoom and on social. So every year we put together our Miami Global report and had some questions for you guys. Let's see if you know your Miami Global trivia. What is the top foreign country purchasing in South Florida? That's number one. If you could type it in the chat, we'll see who gets it first. How many total countries purchase real estate in South Florida? And number three, what percentage of global real estate sales happen in South Florida? The third one, our CEO loves that one, and it's really an amazing number. So we'll see if, thank you for all the comments. We'll see who gets it first and who gets the prize. I don't know if we have a prize, but
We get bragging rights.
we get bragging rights. There you go, bragging rights. All right. Okay, so let's get into the data. Median sale price, preferred summary statistic for price activity. First, we got to touch on, the history. No one in the US can match Miami's price appreciation. This is from CoreLogic. At the bottom there it says August 2024, but we looked at it in January, and actually Miami's number two now, but incredible price appreciation. And then on the graphic on the right was our chief economist put these numbers together about the home equity gains, nearly two times the national average. Um, no one has that type of price appreciation. So Eddie, let me go through the different counties here, and I'll ask you a question. So for Miami-Dade, single family, again, up 10%, now at 675,000. Condos increased again, about 5% increase in price appreciation. Let's take a look at Broward, across the board gains. And here's Palm Beach. Eddie, let's go back here. The main number, I know everybody's looking at condos, and condo appreciation continues across the board. It's incredible history that we've had of price appreciation.
Yep, it sure is. And it's because of a lot of factors. And we just been everything. I think it's a convergence of so many things that it's finally kind of just, we hit our stride. But I don't think it, I think we still are, like I said, when you compare us to the international market, which we are now, a true international hub, didn't realize that quite until I started doing international travel and talking in real estate to all the different people in these real estate conferences internationally, and understand that we are really in high demand. Everybody wants to know about what's happening in Miami. Some people call it the Messi effect, but we've got so many factors. We got F1, we got Messi coming, we've got all the major sports, we got this weather. I mean, guys, everybody's been miserable with this new cold for a couple of days. There's people that have to live in it for months. We have some really awesome weather. So there's a lot of really good factors supporting us.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, you talk about Messi, Tom Brady lives here, Jeff Bezos. I mean, they're across the line.
Yeah.
Um, and so here's a graphic historically, go back to 1994, and you could see the waves, and you could see from the peak in 2007, incredible increase. And really, pandemic, I would say after the pandemic, it just hit another level there because the demand only increased. The pandemic only helped. Um, Unfortunately, the all the changes with remote work, everybody wanted to come here.
Yep.
Here's a look at we have Broward as well, and you can see the price appreciation. Here's Palm Beach County as well. Let's move on to this. I wanted to thank our design team. They were able to update this right before this webinar. So thank you, especially to Bolivar. We got the 2024 numbers, and you could see when you talk about inventory, total active listings are still below the historical average, but they are increasing. So Eddie, this is good news because there's more options now in the market, but we still have more to go for supply.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, like, supply and demand is what drives pricing. We've had an increase in supply, but we're still, relatively like under pre-COVID, right? So pre-COVID, we were above the average, and we're still below that number. So it's important to understand the high lines. Condo listings that were trending up. The number of listings are going up, but still compared to pre-pandemic numbers, we're still below where we were. So it's a matter of where to the snapshot are you taking that you're telling your story from. So here it is. We needed some inventory. We needed some inventory balance, and it's good that we have some more balance in the market.
Yes, balance. We want balance for buyers and sellers. Exactly. All right. So this is actually, Eddie, what you were talking about earlier. Here's the graphic, how Miami, more bang for your buck in Miami versus LA versus Paris, New York, London, Hong Kong. This is how much more you're able to purchase, how much prime property you're able to purchase. Eddie, you had talked about that. And then,
Yeah.
oh, go ahead.
No. I was just saying, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And so Eddie, this is a question that we always get on these. The realtors or people watching this ask, this price appreciation. Miami has had price appreciation for 10 consecutive years. Is this going to be another 2008?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So how would you answer that?
No, I'll answer it very clearly. I tell you, I mean, in 2009, I sold almost 600 foreclosed properties. I know the foreclosure market very well. A lot of my clients, I still am in touch with them that are in the space of mortgage default. All of them are telling me the same exact thing. No way is that going to happen again. It's not going to happen, period. And there's a lot of reasons why. We can get into it. The loan structuring that was done during the Dodd-Frank bill is a major one of them. The political climate for it, what they learned during that process, they would rather now move people along and help them as much as they can. Before there was federal laws that restricted banks and forced them to force people into foreclosure. Now those have all been relieved and make it much easier to allow, if you are a lender and you want to work with your borrower, you can much more flexibly. Before it wasn't that way. So for this and many reasons, it's not going to happen.
Yeah, no, yeah, great points. And we're putting out a news release. We're releasing, these stats to the media today as we speak. The news releases are going out. And in the Miami release, we talk about distress sales. It's only 2% of total sales, and you compare it to 2009, that number was at 60%. So that backs up exactly what Eddie said.
Yeah.
All right, so let's move on. Why buy a home now? Some of the points put together, 30-year fixed mortgage is the best hedge against inflation. Some of these points, Eddie, you had talked about. I love the point that housing is not like stocks and bonds, it's a place to live.
Yep, that's for sure. Yeah, I mean, you buy a house, the reason you buy a home is for stability, to put your family in a lockdown place where you can grow. And there's lots of statistics that show that children are better that way, crime is lower that way, wealth is built faster that way. I mean, owning and staying still is better than jumping around. And so when you're renting, you have no control of when your landlord is going to cause you to jump around. So that's one of the major things that I tell people. You get to put your foot down and set an anchor somewhere and build from there. That's important.
Yeah. And as you were talking, it made me think of Mo VC. He was an incredible Miami Realtors leader, an NAR leader as well, and he made incredible speeches. And you guys could look those up on YouTube. Just type in Mo VC. I'll type in the chat home ownership, and he talks about how home ownership helps your children do better in life, the community. Exactly what Eddie said. So great stuff. All right, so let's take a look at closed sales. What are the numbers here? And total sales are up through about 3%. Single family home sales are up 10%. Condos are down just 2%. Let's take a look at Broward. Total sales at about negligible decrease. Single family is up. Palm Beach is also up. But Eddie, this is great news here, especially total sales. It looks like perhaps, there's more certainty after the presidential election. More buyers are coming off the sidelines, we hope.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, listen, I think we as realtors need to bifurcate the numbers when we see what's up and down. What we're talking about here is the number of transactions, not the value of price homes, right? So the number of transactions is low. It's historically low. And so I don't expect them to change much. I think we have a much from here up, right? I think we've kind of hit the bottom in terms of where transactions are going to happen. The number of transactions. I think we're going to see a cadence pick up now in terms of the number of transactions for sure, because some price stability has been brought to the market. Things have calmed down. Inventory's gone up. People are getting more excited now that the elections are over, and now it is what it is, whether you like it or you don't, the outcome of the election. But that brings stability. So we should expect to see that stability kind of bring the cadence up. So those numbers are doing what I would expect them to do at this time.
Excellent. Okay, perfect. All right, so let's talk about some tools that could help all the realtors watching to make more deals. Are you guys using Market Watch on Matrix? This was a great tip from Natasha Tello. Because most real estate stats are backward looking, but Market Watch lets you do the last 7 days. Eddie, could you tell people how they could use this to improve their business?
Yeah, I mean, you're watching a much more micro segment of the market. It helps you keep a pace on what's happening. You can use some of this data to help guide your clients in a better way. I would say that you could also pay attention, guys. There's a lot of opportunity in the canceled and expired space because there are properties that were priced incorrectly. They're not selling because their strategy or the pricing wasn't. So check that out. I think also there's an opportunity in the for sale by owner space where people who could have sold their house in a week by putting a sign in front of their house may not be able to do that as quickly now. May need a little bit more guidance and assistance. So those are a couple of tips that I have for you in terms of how you can do that. This market stats is good to just kind of for me, I like to look at it just to kind of see where which it's a quick visual, which of these lines is longest. Is there a lot new properties coming on? Is there a lot of transactions? Is there a good balance between the new listings and the closed sales and the pending sales? I'd like to check that out.
Very interesting. Yeah, which of these lines is the longest? Yeah, that's awesome. All right. All right, so more free tools for Miami members. Are you guys using IMAP, most accurate for property data? Are you using SunStats? Are you using Miami Realtors zip code reports on sfmarketintel.com? RPR, let's go through each of those. IMAP, complete property building attributes, ownership. Eddie, I know this is one of our most popular tools. How often do you use this, and what do you recommend to realtors?
Every day, and that is what you have there. That visual that you have there is the original version. There's an updated version right now, and I use it every day. It also has the property city interactions. When city interactions will show you code violations, permit history. It's not 100% accurate, but it can save you a lot of time and give you some real core information on that. That's what I like to use it for, and it has all the layers of data. I mean, you've got flood maps. It is comprehensive, very foreclosure data, short sale, uh, taxes, everything, property lines. So much data on the property that you can just check it all out, and a link right into RPR that I like to use. It's a really cool tool. Yeah, nice reporting. I love it.
Wow, that's interesting. What would you say is IMAP your favorite, and what are your top three? That's what I was interested in.
I would say of the ones that you referenced prior, I would say IMAP for sure is up there as far as MLS data. I love SunStats. I'm in SunStats a lot. I use SunStats to provide. I do, listen. I mean, effective marketing, effective marketing to a pool of sellers is not, hey, you ready to sell your house yet? That's not effective. Effective marketing is giving them information that other people aren't giving them. And that information is hands down available, easy click, click, click. Sunstat, you can pull up. There's one in Hialeah. That's my hometown. I'm a Hialeah kid. So I
Yeah,
like that you have the Hialeah. Is that you, Chris? You picked that one out just for me?
just for
Just
you,
kidding.
just for you.
But yeah, you could pull out a Hialeah report, pull up all your Hialeah leads that you have, and send them a report. You can create a postcard and send it out to Hialeah Market. You could even know this data just off the top of your head, knowing this information. So when someone says something, you can just boom out of your mouth, give them the data, give them the stats, and that builds a lot of trust and credibility that other agents aren't. They're going to speak in generalities. Because you came to the Sunset, because you came to this market intel and this stats report, and now you know about Sunstats, you're going to have that at the tip of your tongue and at your fingertips. So I'm excited for you all.
Yeah, 100%. I love SunStats. I actually use a lot of the charts in this PowerPoint are from SunStats, super easy to use.
Yep.
Um, Perfect. Okay. All right, let's keep moving along here. New pending sales, best indicator of future closed sales. These numbers here are interesting. In December, the pending sales historically do decrease, but wanted to check on these numbers if the data there for Miami-Dade. But this is normally what we'd see, decreases for Miami and Broward.
Yeah, it's a trend you could see every year. Quarter four, quarter one closings are usually slower. You'll see a pickup in quarter two and quarter three in number of closed sales. That's just that you could pull a history of that. You'll see a consistent wave. The only variant to that was during COVID. That wave moved from first quarter like towards the end of the year. So the first quarter and second quarter, second and third quarter in COVID time, 2020 it was dead, and then quarter four took off. But that's the only variant that I've seen. Usually quarter two, quarter three is the big closing month.
Very good. That's great. Great tips there. Okay, great. All right, let's talk about dollar volume, sum of all sale prices in a given time period. And these numbers always boggle my mind every single month that we do this because this doesn't even include new construction. This is just existing, the properties that are in the MLS, and you total these numbers. This is just 1 month. Really shows the power of our industry, right, Eddie?
Yeah, it's absolutely unbelievable. And yeah, there's just such a big market to go after, right? There's plenty of business and plenty of opportunity out there. So don't let yourself uh, just confused about that. It's definitely a lot out there to be done.
Yeah, a lot of money out there, dollar
It's a
volume.
lot of money. There's a lot of transactions. Yeah, Well, all I need
Yeah,
is to get 1% of that, and I'll be good.
1%, yes. 1%, awesome. All right, months of supply, meaningful indicator of the market. And so when you look at months of supply, you want 6 to 9 months. We talked about it before. That's a balanced market. It's good for sellers and buyers. So less than 6 months is a seller's, more than 9 months is a buyer's market. And I have a calculation here. And you guys could, if you put your email in the chat, I'll send you this PowerPoint and you'll be able to review it at your leisure. But here's the how to calculate. You could calculate, not just the city, but zip code. You could break down whatever market you're marketing to. Months of supply. Let's go over the 3 counties here. So overall, it's 8.3 months. Single families in a seller's market. Condos, we have noticed that the trend line is now in the buyer's market.
But
Let's
again, Chris, I want to just point out that yes and no, right? So there are condos that have done like 55 plus communities, aged, poorly maintained, poorly budgeted, that have 22 months supply. But then I've seen condos that are newer, that have been managed well, that are in good condition, that only have a 4 or 5 month supply. So, and same with single family. So you really have to know the sub markets. This is all of this data is the whole market, in the segments that we've talked about. But you really got to go into each one of those. Each building will tell you what their days on, what their absorption rate is, or what their months of supply of inventory is. You got to really do that building by building, or market by market.
Yeah, no, those are great points. And like you said, that this is the macro level, but
Correct.
realtors, they become successful on knowing the micro, right,
That's
Eddie? That's your city, your zip code. That's how you become successful.
your block. That's where you really know it, right? That's where
Yes.
those big portals and those big systems and all those big companies, they really can't do that. I don't care. That's the power of a real estate agent. To me, you've got to know, you've got to be committed to knowing your market in a way that other people don't. If I told you I want a condo up to $3 million with a view, with valet service, with a gym that has a spa in it, could you tell me which buildings I should look in? And if you could, then you are a market expert in the condo space in South Florida. And to me, you can't. There's no system right now that you can do that kind of digging out and finding that, right? So that's the market expertise that our consumers want from us. And if you bring that, you bring an enormous amount of value.
That's another soundbite right there. That's awesome. That you talk about the value of the realtor. That's exactly how you show your value.
Absolutely.
That's awesome. All right, months of supply by price point. There's so many different ways you could look at this, but you break it down by price bucket. Um, you know, uh, 1 million and more. You could look at 400 to 600,000, and you can see how the market shifts on months of supply. Eddie, want to get into this? These are new numbers that we just calculated here from the data, and our design team put together just before this. These are hot markets. They have the lowest months of supply. This is from Miami-Dade. Miami Gardens is ranked number one for single family. Kendall's ranked number one at condos. I was going to ask you, Eddie, if you have any cities here you'd like to talk about, and I see that Hialeah's there.
Hialeah, of course I'm gonna talk about Hialeah. Now, what you're seeing here, I can see it right across the board, is this is the affordability matrix right here. This is where can you find an affordable condo? That Kendall and Fountain in Hialeah. That's the ranking right there. And then Miami Gardens, it's really about affordability. Single family homes, you can still buy a pretty reasonably priced, well positioned home in Miami Gardens for a good price. And there you have it. What I was saying earlier in the couple slides before, Chris, you had like 11, I think it was 11 months supply in condos. And yeah, and here and now, yeah, there it is, 11 months supply in condos. But when you go and you look at Kendall, different story. And I mean, not just a little bit different, but like half as
Oh,
much,
yes.
time supply. So you really got to understand those micro metrics. And I'm telling you, if you went into Kendall, there might be some buildings that have like, they're just flying off the shelf. Some condos maybe in those specific markets. So
I
for
love
sure.
it. Yeah. Yeah, that's excellent. All right. Let's take a look at Broward. Parkland ranks number one, lowest months of supply for single family. Plantation number one for condos. Let's move to Palm Beach. Green Acres checks in number one for single family. Palm Beach Gardens is number one on the condo side.
Mhm.
All right, let's talk about active inventory. How many active listings are out there? This is fresh data we're releasing to the media today. And again, Eddie, you've been talking about the whole time. You have to put these numbers into context. Yes, it's up year over year, but still below the historical average and below pandemic, right? But this is a good sign. We want this increasing.
Yeah, it's both of those things, right? And this graph goes back to 2022, not to pre-pandemic. So you can't see where those dots would be higher up on the left if that graph went further back. So it looks like inventory is only going up, but it's going up, but it's still below. You can't see it on this graph, but it's still below where it was in 2018, 2019. So it's knowing that segment, knowing your numbers, and being able to confidently convey that to your customers.
Yes. All right. All right, some points to try to sum it up here. Right there, inventory still below pre-pandemic. Condo active listings are still down. The mortgage rates are projected to decline. This is from our chief economist. She also forecasts sales to rise. And you saw Realtor.com puts Miami at number two for all the markets in the U.S. to watch in 2025. And of course, prices continue to rise. All right, so let's get to the study. We'll see who wins the bragging rights today, who answer them correctly.
We got Irene at Columbia, and she was right.
And it's Colombia as the number one country. Irene got it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Irene Lopez. Yeah,
and she was
Rivas.
very quick with it. Great job. Yes, Colombia. And by the way, we're putting together our 2024 global study that should be out shortly, and we will have that up ready for you guys next time. Okay, so the next question. Thank you all for all the comments there on the top country. And let's move on to the next one. How many total countries purchased real estate in South Florida? It's 52. I'm not sure if anybody got that. I know I thought,
David Gonzalez had it right. He just imposed the numbers. I'm
oh,
just
because he
kidding.
thinks it.
Right,
All
David?
right.
You meant 52. I know you meant
Yeah,
that.
yeah. We'll give it to David. All right. Awesome. Okay. And then so the third question was what percentage of Florida global real estate sales are happen in South Florida? 47%. And that is an incredible number. Not sure. I did see a guest, James Molnar. He guessed 80%. Okay.
I like James's number.
Yes.
That'd be nice.
Yeah.
Working on it.
Yeah. And
I want, yeah, Miami members. I want you to know, I did not realize this that until I got involved in leadership and getting well before, yeah, just getting more involved in the association. I did not realize that this doesn't happen by mistake. I thought it was just because Miami is really great, but yeah, Miami is really great. But your Miami realtors are going right now. They're in Canada right now. Miami Realtors is in Canada representing Miami. We've been to Dubai, France. We'll be in France later this year. We'll be in Canada later again this year. We go to Central and South America. We were in Brazil a couple months ago, right, Chris? You were in Brazil not that
yes,
long.
yes, I was, yeah.
Yeah, so we're in those markets talking about the Miami brand, the Miami market, what's happening, data, we're giving them information, selling what Miami is, so that makes people feel like wanting to move here and invest here. And that has a trickle down effect to the Miami realtors that we don't always get to see directly, but I'm seeing the impact that it has. And I see how when we travel to certain parts, we pick up like France wasn't on remember we started traveling to France and then the France started trickling up on the closing reports. And we're like, okay, that's that's not by mistake. So it's pretty cool. Just wanted to share that, Chris.
Yeah, no, no, thank you for saying that. Yeah, no, the association takes pride in marketing South Florida. Um, and it's what Miami, like, our DNA is global. That this for so many years, Miami has always been a global destination, and that's the top. It's top for us.
Yes, it is.
All right, so let's try to sum up some of the tools and resources. We Eddie did an incredible job on SunStats. I think this could be a game changer for all the realtors. Make sure to use that. We also talked about IMAP. We have co-branded marketing materials. If you're not aware, the website is miamirealtors.com/co-brand. Top 20 reasons to buy, top ranking cities. You could put your marketing information there, free to use. We haven't talked about this, Photify, which is a free Miami service. We have 1,000 templates loaded on the app. It's only available on your phone. And as you can see, these Miami realtors are taking advantage. It's very simple to use. You add your photo, your information, your company logo, and you share it on social media in 2 minutes. If you're not using that, that's another valuable resource. These are the market reports I had mentioned earlier. They are on sfmarketintel.com. Not just December 2024, but we have fourth quarter 2024 and year end 2024. Every single city in South Florida, every single zip code, you have the stats for you. There, we'll be putting out our market focus infographics and videos. I talked about this, our zip code and city reports. RPR is another great free service included. And if you guys have any questions, for instance, Eddie did an incredible job talking about IMAP. You want to learn a bit more about IMAP or Photify or RPR or SunStats. These trainers can help you. Are putting on classes every week. And best way to reach them probably is their email, trainers@miamire.com. And they could help you with any questions. All right, Eddie, a couple last slides here. Cross-market demand. So that's essentially what markets are looking at Miami listings. And this is off realtor.com. And it's really remarkable. First of all, how much New York loves the Miami listings. But Eddie, as a realtor, how could you leverage these stats?
How do I? I will tell you. I travel to I travel quite a bit in real estate throughout the country, to excuse me, domestic, local real estate conferences, that I specialize in niches, and I pretty much in every state I have at least 5 brokers that I know that I can pick up, have their cell phone. They know me, I know them. I can call them and say, who do you know? It's in this city in this area, and so I sell at least 8 houses a year from that network of realtors. I would say networking is number one. Second to that is if you don't know who to network with or you don't have the budget to travel and do all that, either from financial or time budget, I would say social media. You know, you can do social media reach out, find realtors that are active in New York County, send them a DM or find their phone number. I'm sure they have it published because they want to get phone calls. Call them and say, hey, you know, I know that you're in New York. I was just looking at this realtor.com data. It says that a bunch of a bunch of clients are moving from New York County. And I was curious, are you representing any buyers that are looking to relocate to Florida right now? Or any sellers that are selling that are looking to relocate to South Florida? I'd be happy to help them. And you may get a referral fee from that, or maybe you get the client direct, but either way, you can participate in facilitating that transaction. So, I mean, that's just a couple of ways.
That is super helpful, super interesting. Took down a lot of notes. Wow, 5 brokers in each state, and that helps you sell 8 houses a year. It's that networking. I remember Fernando another great Miami leader talks about real estate is a contact sport.
Contact sport. It's a contact sport. You've got to be in contact with people. And it's not always, some people are like, I don't want to bang, I don't want to cold call. I don't want to just, pick up the phone and cold call a neighborhood. Okay, well, don't cold call a neighborhood, but cold call realtors. You can cold call, you can be strategic about the calls you make, but you've got to talk to people. It's a contact sport. You got to be engaged with people and offering them value, you know. You may be able to say, hey, I got some really cool data I wanted to share to you. Let me put that together and send it to you. What's a good email address? And then put them on your database and then send them, quarterly updates or weekly, monthly, whatever you want to do. It's not that you're going to call 10 people today and 10 people are going to send you a buyer referral, but it's about starting those relationships and then working on those relationships long term. And then eventually they'll give you some fruit.
Yeah, no, that's super helpful. And I know that David was on David Gonzalez on the chat. And I remember talking with him at a conference, and he told me all the different people that he calls a day. It was really amazing the work ethic. Uh, but that's exactly what you have to be successful.
Yep. Shout out to him. I saw him. He's using your photo file. I saw him on that. I saw him on one of your screenshots there, the
Yeah,
photo
yeah,
users.
yeah. He's one of our Fortify superstars.
There
Yes.
we go.
All right, so Broward County. What markets are looking at Broward County listings? No surprise, New York all over this list. We got Cook County, Illinois, the number two, Fulton County, that's Atlanta, and so Palm Beach County. Even more New York counties. I think every single New York county is on this list. They love Palm Beach, but just a sample of the data. I'm waiting for Realtor.com to update that at quarter four. But if you want to find this, all you have to do is type in a Google search, cross market demand is the first thing that pops up.
Chris,
Uh,
I have one more tip on this. This is all cross market demand inward, but you could also do cross market demand outward, if I can imagine, right?
yeah, yeah,
Could
you're
you?
right. Yeah.
And so the reason I'm saying cross market demand outward is that if you are considering moving to Georgia to have a more affordable house, you're not going to sell your house and then go to Georgia to look for it. You're going to go to Georgia to look for it first. So if there's a Georgia realtor working with that buyer and they're thinking they could refer you as the selling agent, the listing agent in South Florida, right? When that time comes. So you should be talking to those different agents in those key markets and establishing relationships in those key markets where a lot of people are moving to. And that doesn't you don't have to go across state lines. There's a lot of people moving from Miami to Lehigh, to Naples, to Orlando, to Port St. Lucie, and connecting with agents in those markets could be hugely beneficial. So I see realtors as not competitors, and that's a lot of people ask me, why do you network so much with other realtors? I'm like, because that's how I make a lot of money. Uh, Other realtors aren't my competitors; they're my collaborators. They're the people who I can connect with and do business with. So our industry is fantastically cool that way. That we have a way to you have somebody and I have somebody, and we make money by putting them together. So I need to know as many of you as possible and establish a relationship of value and wellness. So whenever I reach out to you, there's a likelihood that we're going to be able to do business together. That's the goal.
Wow, that's phenomenal. That's another soundbite right there. Not competitors, my collaborator. That was awesome. And it really makes me think of, you're volunteering your time to be the chairman of the board, to help this industry and taking your time to be on this webinar. So this is a lot of Eddie about what you're doing for South Florida real estate and helping everybody here.
It's an honor and a pleasure.
All right, guys. So here we're closing up 2:54. We're almost around time, but here's my information. You could send me an email at chris@miamiread.com. Here are our social media handles, our websites. And Eddie, any final words for all the realtors? Any tips and advice? Yeah.
Well, I would say that I want to thank you for what you did putting this together, but not just this. I want our members to know that you are a skilled PR guy and you take this data and this information and craft really, really good press releases and information. And we get picked up all over the world and all over media. So we are, Miami Realtors is controlling the narrative, telling the media. We had some very, very good articles posted recently at even the Miami Herald, which is generally not as nice to us as we'd like to see. They scrutinize sometimes our numbers, but they were even very kind and published a very, very nice article the other day. A couple of good articles going out. So I want to commend Chris and his team for the PR that we do, and it's just another reason why the Miami Realtors is who we are. So thank you, Chris, for that.
Oh no, thank you, Eddie, for saying that. We have an incredible team. It's it's my pleasure to honored to be here at this association. 105 years of service to South Florida real estate. So um, thank you, Eddie, and thank you to everybody on the chat for staying on for the entire hour. Um, and I see some great comments. Thank you. Great informative webinars. We appreciate it so much. Thank you, Sandy, and everybody on the chat. Gay, all right, thank you, Gay. Um, Thank you so much. And so yeah, so I'm going to go back and look at all the emails in the chat, and I will send you this PowerPoint that you could take a look at your leisure and get it to you in the afternoon. All right. Well, thank you to everybody for joining us. I hope you all have a great weekend, and we'll see you
Chris, one last thing.
next time.
I
Yeah.
put my email and phone number in the chat, and I invite anybody that's on this webinar, that's watching, that has some perspective, insight, something they want to share about what they need as a realtor in our marketplace, what challenges they're facing, what opportunities there might be. I would love to hear from you. And lastly, I'm just gonna take a personal privilege to say to Jyoti Langani, who's on the call, hi, it's great to see you. That's all.
Awesome. All right.
Eddie, it's a
Uh,
great pleasure to see you. And thank you for always.
Thank you.
all right. Thank you all. Thank you to everybody. And we'll see you next time in February when we come back together. Thank you so much. Have a great weekend.
Take care. Be well.
You too.